Rishi Sunak's been talking tough on Britain's borders, vowing to pull the UK out of the ECHR if that's what it takes to stop the small boats crisis. Now, look, this is technically his strongest warning yet to the meddling European courts. The Prime Minister told The Sun, "I believe that border security and controlling illegal migration is more important than our membership of any foreign court." Well, that's interesting, because when Robert Jenrick and Suella Braverman were pushed aside/resigned, he was saying that can't be the case because Rwanda will pull out of the deal. But anyway, things change. And with a dismal new poll predicting that 11 cabinet ministers could lose their seats in a landslide Labour victory in the next general election, Sunak needs to come up with some eye-catching policies to woo disillusioned Tory voters. Well, I'm joined now by Reform UK MP Lee Anderson. Lee, I thought that we were told that Rwanda would pull out of the deal if we ignored a foreign court. I mean, this is ridiculous. Do you believe Rishi Sunak now?
Well, no, I don't, Patrick. And yes, we was told that Rwanda would pull out of the deal. I think that was a bit of jiggery-pokery by Number 10 when we had the third reading of the Rwanda bill. Look, you know, if it was going to pull out, if government was going to pull out the ECHR, they would have done it by now. But they won't, because I'll tell you why, Patrick. My honest opinion is there's far too many people, not just in Parliament, but within the Conservative benches, that would not support this move at all. And I'm talking about the One Nation lot. So the Parliament as a whole is out of touch with the British public, as it was during the Brexit debate. Probably 3/4 of Parliament would not agree to leaving the ECHR. Look, there's a simple solution to this, Patrick. Just ignore it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm just getting this in my ear now. Apparently this is just lying. The Sun are now reporting, Lee, that Rwanda are saying that they won't pull out of the deal now if we leave the ECHR. Well, hang on a minute, this is ridiculous. They were saying this when you were having your votes. They were saying it when Suella Braverman was in charge. They were saying it when Robert Jenrick was there. Rishi Sunak was holding it over people like yourselves' heads at that particular moment in time. This is what's going on. It's a circus, Lee.
Well, it's ridiculous. At the time of the vote, Patrick, you know, because you covered that vote on that night, we was told the same thing, that Rwanda would pull out. There was a section of us within the Conservative Party at that time, backbenchers, who thought it was nonsense, and we've been proved right. I think it was a little bit of like emotional political blackmail, if you like, to get the bill over the line. But not for 1 minute did we think that Rwanda would pull out of the deal. It was absolute nonsense.
Yeah, and the actual practicalities of pulling out of the ECHR, do you think Rishi Sunak has the minerals to do that?
I don't think personally, he may have, Patrick, but I don't think he's got the minerals to deal with the One Nation lot. They outnumber the sensible people within the Conservative Party. Look, I've said it before, I've said it again. You know, if he was serious about getting, coming out of the ECHR, it would have kept Suella Braverman in position. She was a strong advocate of this. But I don't think he will do it. And like I said before, Patrick, we could ignore the ECHR if we wanted to. We've done it before on the boats for prisoners. And I always used to raise this when I was in the Conservative Party with government. You know, if we ignore the ECHR, well, you know, what would be the consequences of that? And I was told repeatedly that it would affect our standing on the international stage. It would affect our reputation. But I tell you what, our reputation is already tarnished on not just the international stage, but the national stage. I'm sick to death of us importing a third world culture over the channel. Some of these people on these boats coming over, Patrick, as you've reported on your show, going to commit horrific crimes. That's my concern, and that's the concern of the British public.
I mean, it also just smacks of him not being particularly good at politics, which is what quite a few people are saying. He had a Home Secretary in Suella Braverman who would have been perfectly fine for us to pull out the ECHR, and an Immigration Minister. I've reported on this show, via the former Immigration Minister's own mouth, that the Prime Minister did not want to talk to him about immigration. Both of those people have gone. He's now got a Home Secretary who doesn't want to leave the ECHR, and all of a sudden he's coming out and saying that he would happily leave it. That is a big shift, and it does smack, I think, potentially of desperation. But Lee, astonishing new research has found that GPs are having to teach parents how to cook simple meals, like potatoes and beans. Now, the news has sparked outrage, with campaigners warning that some parents' inability to cook healthy meals is fueling the UK's childhood obesity crisis. And you're the perfect man to talk to about this, because you were, in my view, genuinely wrongly ridiculed, branded 30p Lee. People laughed at you, OK, for raising the alarm about this issue previously. Well, you've been vindicated now, haven't you?
Well, I'll tell you what, Patrick, there's no wonder you can't get an appointment at the GP's surgery these days. You're too busy, doing cooking lessons with irresponsible parents. Yes, I was right. And, I worked with a food bank for a considerable amount of time. We was batch cooking. We cooked 150 meals from 50 quid, worked out at 30 pence. When I actually said this in Parliament, I was ridiculed. I was laughed at. I asked every single Labour MP to come and join me in the food bank project to have a go. This was designed to help people. And it's true, Patrick, there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people up and down this country that cannot cook a basic meal from scratch, from the ingredients. They just cannot do it. And this is a generational thing. This is probably third or fourth generation now of people that cannot cook. And obviously then, if they can't cook, they can't pass those skills onto the kids. As a result of that, they're eating junk food, rubbish, and ready meals.
And they're teaching them, apparently, they're teaching them how to do things like cook beans, which, with respect, cooking beans is open a tin and either shove it in the microwave or on the hob for about 2 or 3 minutes, isn't it, really? Let's be honest. And what I found fascinatingly was when you said that stuff, a lot of people on the left ridiculed you, didn't they? Then they really stuck the knife into you. But if they were really all about helping people, Lee, they probably would have got on board, because these are the kind... We can mock these people if we want, which I certainly don't want to do, or you could try and actually help them, which I think is what you were really trying to do.
Try and do something positive, Patrick. I mean, they weren't ridiculing these celebrity chefs, these Jack Monroes, these Jamie Olivers, and they were cooking meals for 20 pence, considerably cheaper than what we could prepare them for. And we was actually doing this in the food bank I was volunteering at. We was encouraging people when they came for the food parcel to sign up for a cooking course and a budgeting course to try and help people manage their budget. This is what we should be doing. This is responsible, Patrick.
OK. Now, look, Lee, I've got to ask you about this. I'm going to be covering this in a bit more detail, or quite a lot more detail next, because next I am going to take our viewers and our listeners live to the Falkland Islands. But Argentina's President Javier Milei has promised to set out a diplomatic roadmap for the UK to hand the Falkland Islands back to the South American country. Lee, would you fight him on the beaches of the Falkland Islands?
Well, I'm not sure about that, Patrick. I'm a bit long in tooth for that. But listen, I think he must be in trouble. This is a man, by the way. I was looking at him earlier on, who visits a psychic to get, to come up with some of his airbrain schemes. I think he's been talking to his late dead dog as well at some stage.
So I think he's cloned his dog, actually, Lee. I think he's got... but I take your point. Carry on. It's not just irrelevant, really.
Yeah, but it probably needs to get a grip. The Falklands have been ours for, hundreds of years now. I mean, why does he want the island? There's nothing there apart from, a few hundred Brits and a load of penguins. I don't know why he's doing it, to be honest with you, Patrick. We lost a lot of lives, nearly 300 men, I think we lost on there in the early 80s, and it would be a travesty if we haven't even got into this discussion. So he probably needs to sort the problems out in his own backyard before he starts poking his nose.
Would we go to war again over them, though? I mean, we do keep hearing a lot about defence cuts, defence spending. We're spread pretty thin. I mean, do you think that we would go to war to defend the Falkland Islands again?
Well, I would hope it wouldn't come to that, Patrick. I hate to see our young men and women going over to foreign lands to risk their lives. But, it is a British colony. They're British people on that island, and they deserve our support. And if push comes to shove, we should defend them.
All right, one final one to you, Lee. There's been this story about the old sex-based honey trap, and William Ragg has stuck his head above the parapet today. I take it you're not worried about being caught in any of this, are you?
Well, I heard it on GB earlier on the radio in the car about some people have been sending emails or text messages to MPs, and then saying I met you last week at this do, and I really like you, and then they've been sending nude photos. Well, I'm telling you what now, if anybody falls for that sort of nonsense, then he's carting off to the local funny farm. So
we're not going to be seeing any naked pictures of Lee Anderson anytime soon, then?
I would hope not. It'd be quite distressing, Patrick.
All right, Lee, thank you very much. Always a good sport. Take care. All right.